working now.
And it's all yours, Monty.
Alrighty, I see 6 o'clock on the clock. Again, thank you everybody for joining on this wonderful Tuesday. And it's raining, and I hope it's not the repeat telecast on Sunday for us. I really appreciate you guys taking your hour time on a weekday and joining about the Gulf State Championship. With me, I have Steve Bennett, Senior Director of Sports. Will be joining shortly Mike Cumberbatch. I'm not sure if he's on the call yet, but I see Marty Parks here, another MSGA member and GMT member for golf. Thank you, Marty, for being here. And Mike Sinarski will join the call soon, who's the Vice President of Sports. If you have any questions, please do drop your questions in the chat box or raise your hands, and Steve will let me know. Going into the agenda, we'll have welcome. We'll talk about the qualifying events, diving into the state championship info and the general competition information. Then we'll talk a little bit about level 1 skills information, and then proceed to level 2 through 5, which is also called the stroke play. And then do some talking about delegation, venue maps, driving, parking, and then we'll open the house for questions. Again, thank you to all the coaches, area directors, region support for making sure every county this year had a qualifier. We really appreciate you guys putting in efforts and making sure that you had a qualifier and welcoming other counties as well. These are all the counties that did have a qualifier that helped our athletes be eligible for states. So for the separation of spectators / family members must always be separated by themselves in the designated location for the duration of the entire event and will not be able to be with their athlete. Because in the past, we had some instances where if they're not coaches, their parents or family members did coaching / assisting with specifically level 1 players, and we did not want to do that. So some of the major don'ts at the state championship this year is non-delegation members assisting athletes with carrying bags or any other stuff of the athlete is strictly prohibited. And also families cannot assist athletes while they're getting to the proper locations. We should have enough volunteer bodies to be helping with that, or we request the coach to be in communication with us if there are any special requirements for the athletes when they're being transported. And families also getting close to the competitors is not what we want, and actions will be taken, as I will talk about it later in the slide deck as well. Some additional notes to note. Please make sure to all the coaches and support members, please make sure you communicate this to all the family members. There will be some limited viewing areas, especially if it's skills, you'll have some at the pitch, iron and wood stations. Although it is limited and the view is not great, that is where we want the family to be seated for the better flow of crowd. And for course play, we do address in it on the other slide where they can walk around the course. And it is the coach's responsibility to supervise their athletes during the entire time of the event when they're not in the divisions or competing. We would request the coaches to be mindful of that. Thank you, thank you. And just to brush up on the major details, we will have the competition this Sunday, September 22nd. And the location is Queenstown Harbor, just like the last couple of years also. And we will be offering 5 levels. To summarize on what they are, level 1 is the skills competition. Please note that we are doing 2 rounds of skills this year, just like the previous years as well. We'll have 2 groups, the skills athletes set into 2 different groups, one going in the morning, one going in the afternoon. I'll talk more about it in the coming slides. And then we have level 2 through 5, where 2 and 3 are 9 and 18 hole alternate shots, whereas 4 and 5 are 9 and 18 hole with solo play with the athlete and their caddy. And this is the schedule that yet to be changed, but I don't see some major changes being happened. So we plan on being there at 7 a.m. for the golf course to be open for athletes to practice, with registration tables being open at 7:30. And the opening ceremony will start at 8:15, with the first tee time scheduled to go at 9. But if we will communicate the tee times on Friday, and if the first tee time is changed from 9 to 10 or 9:30, we will let you know in the email. And we'll also start staging for level 1 for the first session, which is the morning session, at 9, and the competition will begin at 9:15. And then the lunch starts at 11:30, while the awards also start at 11:30, because that is when we will have the first group for skills come in, and that's when we would like to start the awards. And 12:30 is when the second group for the skills would start, and their competition would begin at 12:45. And for stroke play, I would also highlight that we would need all the teams to be at least 45 minutes prior to their first tee time, just like what we did in the county qualifiers as well. Other general information with the competition rules: athletes and teams will be divisioned according to the official Special Olympics sports rules. We will be divisioning today and tomorrow, and we aim to send the email out late Thursday or early Friday. And athletes teams will also be divisioned upon gender, age, but we primarily do it on the ability of the player. So some age groups and genders may combine to offer the best competition opportunities for the competitors. And we would also highlight when we do that. And again, as always, it's a strict no for any profanity or abusive language at any time during the event. And families and spectators must maintain a 50-foot distance at all times. This also applies for the coaches. If your athletes are in play at one of the holes, we would request you that you stay at a 50-foot minimum distance with the athlete to make sure you're not coaching or assisting while they're in play. But that said, for the coaches, when your athletes are coming out of the hole and walking to the next hole, or just the play is not in session, you can then interact, cheer them up, check on them, give if they need any snacks or water, but that's for the coaches to do. We would say the parents or families should not be in contact at least 50 feet away from the athletes during the entire play. And these are the websites we have linked for you to go over the rules if you want to. And these are the governing bodies we follow: the United States Golf Association and the Special Olympics International. I will also send out an email tomorrow morning with the slide deck and the recording if you'd like to go over, and the websites as well. And the uniform requirements is regular golf attire, collared shirts or golf mock shirts are also, but no t-shirts with slacks, Bermuda shorts, or golf shirts for women. We strictly do not allow any blue jeans, denim, sweatpants, warm up, all of that stuff. And for shoes, it is spikeless golf shoes, sneakers, or soft spikes, which are allowed during the competition. And we would say the uniforms are prohibited from having any personal advertisements, although the brands are okay on the shirts as long as they're the regular brands. And the rain plan, I am praying on the rain gods that they did not do what they did last year. If you don't know, the Golf State Championship last year was canceled on the day off because of rain. But this time we expect to be better with only 20% chance of rain. But if there's any chance of rain, or if there has to be a weather plan, Special Olympics Maryland will directly communicate with the coaches and the area directors on what should be happening. But a light rain will not stop the competition. If and any the golf course decides in the case of thunderstorms, they will blow the horn, and that's when we would stop the play. Yes, thanks, Mike. I'm sorry. It was canceled because of a tropical storm. And then I said, if no lightning is seen, in case of lightning for 30 minutes, that's when we start the play. And this is
yeah, sorry, just jump in, Monty. We'll let you guys know as far as the second paragraph here on this plan is go indoors, go to the clubhouse. Another most viable location would be your cars as well, is another viable option as well. So hopefully, again, as Monty said, fingers crossed, we won't run into this type of situation. Just want to make sure everyone's aware. Thanks, Monty. Back to you.
Thank you, Steve. So this is the current forecast that we have with a high of 73, but the entire day should be partly to mostly cloudy with a slight chance. And when I say slight, the last time I checked was 24% rain chance. But again, fingers crossed. And if there's any communication, we'll directly communicate with the coaches. And with regards to water and snacks, given the athlete, especially for stroke player out on the course for at least a couple of hours, we would highly recommend the athlete and the partner to have their own snacks and water bottles. Although we will be providing snacks and water bottles on the course, I believe it's next to the registration table. So when they sign in, they can take their snacks, water bottle, sit in the golf cart, and start to the tee time. And competitors for both ISC and stroke play, as I said, are encouraged to get their own snacks. Going into awards, so for level 1, golfers will be called to the award staging after they're done, following a 30 to 45-minute break for lunch. This is for the session 1. And for session 2, we will have the golfers have lunch first prior to the competition. Lunch is available at 11:30, and then we put directly to the staging area. And as soon as they're done, that's when we would want them go to the awards staging tent, wait there until the awards are done, then proceed to the later section of the play. But for level 2 through 5, golfers will be directed to the award staging tent immediately after handing in their verified scorecards. So we would request as soon as the team's done playing their level, if they're between 2 through 5, to wait and do not go anywhere or drop their golf bags in the car and stay until the awards are done. That's when we say they have to stay in the awards presented to them in an award ceremony. I'm sorry, yeah, this is the next slide. With protest, a county can do a protest with their head coach. So only certified head coaches may file a protest and no other protest will be considered. And this should also be made on the application of sports rules, not on the judgment officials. We will have about 4 rules officials roaming all around the course. So if you happen to have any question with the rules, they should be able to help you. And protest must also be on a Special Olympics protest form. When requested, we will give that to you and should be submitted to the tables within 30 minutes after posting the scores from the division. And the SOMD Rules Committee will also check on each protest, and the decision may be appealed to the Games Rule Committee in attendance. And this is the committee in there. I will be in there. Marty Parks, who is the MSGA rules official, and we'll have a coach also that's yet to be decided. I can't see the title on the slide, but I believe it's the competition regulations title. So
yeah, for level 1. Yep.
Yes, thank you for level 1. So competition starting times, divisions, starting stations for all athletes, as I said, will be distributed no later than Friday morning. And this information will also be posted during the check-in on one of the check-in tables behind the registration table. And the current plan is to conduct 2 sessions for level 1, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and athletes to have their clubs at each station when it's their turn to participate. So we want them ready to go when it's their turn to hit the ball. Athletes are also required to carry their own clubs from each skill station to the next one, and only credentialed coaches. This is when I say no family member or parent can help any athlete participating in skills with taking their bags. It's strictly the athlete that has to do it. If they have physical challenges or any impairments that would need them to have assistance, that's when we need a coach with a proper credential to step in and help them. And also we would have volunteers to help us with that as well. And coaches, again, are not permitted to coach, assist, or instruct in any way to an athlete once he or she has addressed the ball in the first attempt at any skill station. But they are permitted to coach between the skill station. That's when you can go rectify the mistakes. If you think there are any, cheer them up. But we strictly highlight the point that there's no coaching that's allowed when the play is in course. Steve, is this still for level 1?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Again, continuing, athletes will complete in 2 full rounds of competition, and then they'll have a cumulative average for the entire state championship. And this is when athletes will achieve 2 total scores per each skill station before moving. So They'll start playing at one skill station. They'll wait until all of the other people in the same division are done, then play it again, and then move to the next skill station. So the skill stations are not available for use before the competition. You cannot go there and practice it. But portions of the driving range area and practice green may be available for athletes to utilize before the opening ceremony, subjected to change though. And athletes are permitted one practice shot that will not count towards her score at each skill station before each round of competition. And there's a chance if the athlete says they do not want any practice and they just want to start hitting, we would consider that. But that has to come from the athlete and we would not directly ask them. And the check-in for level 1, as soon as you arrive at the Queenstown Harbor course, the golfers from level 1 should proceed to the pavilion. I will also show the map in the coming slides where the pavilion is and where the parking is also. So we would start at 9 a.m., starting staging for level 1 with the competition scheduled to start at 9:15. And upon arrival, all level 1 session 2 golfers are expected to be staged at 12:30 with the competition start at 12:45. Also, please note for the session 2, if your athletes for level 1 are in session 2 and they would like to have lunch on the course, the lunch starts at 11 and they can start having it and be ready to go by 12:15. So when we start staging at 12:30, they're all set. And for level 1 session 1 athletes, they'll have lunch after they're done. After they're done, they have lunch and then they go to the awards. And for tiebreakers, this is where I open the room for discussion. As done in the past, we have had tiebreakers if the scores were same. That's when we select a random hole or a random skill station for level 1 and then do a tiebreaker. But this year, the state has decided we would rather eliminate the tiebreaker and just give common medals. So if 2 players in the same division were to have the same scores, we would give both of them, if they're first, we would give both of them a gold medal and the next person would get a bronze. I would just like to ask all the coaches present in the meeting today, are you all okay with it?
Yeah, I think if you want to just type into the chat, if you have a feeling where you feel we should not do tiebreakers, if you feel that we should eliminate the tiebreakers, as Monty mentioned, and give duplicate awards as they have earned, that's fine. If you feel we need to do the tiebreakers in either level 1 or the course plays level 2 through 5, type that into the chat. And we'll give a few seconds here just to see if anybody feels that we should eliminate or if we should continue the tiebreakers. Prefer duplicate medals. So yeah, that's eliminating the tiebreakers. Thank you, John. Again, if anybody feels we should continue with the tiebreaker system, let us know.
We would really appreciate your thoughts. And as Steve said, this is for both level 1 and stroke play, level 2 through 5.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of it eliminate the tiebreakers, prefer the duplicate medals. So yeah, appreciate the feedback. I'll continue to monitor that. And at the end, if we have a little bit of time, if there's any questions you have, we may open up for discussion. But I think the few people who did respond said eliminate the tiebreakers, and everybody else from silence is consent or whatever, as we said. If you have any reasons to continue with the tiebreakers, let us know. But appreciate the feedback there, and I'll continue to monitor that. Monty, thank you.
Thank you all for the responses. Thank you again, Steve. This helps me skip this slide.
Monty? Okay, this is Mike Cumberpatch. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mike.
Okay, I'm on my phone. I'm up in New York, up in the boondocks, and I had trouble hooking in, but I'm here now. I just want to let you know.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.
I'm on my phone. Thanks.
Yep, thank you. That's Michael Cumberpatch, one of the USGA rules officials who will also help us set the course. And this is the level 2 through 5. So for them, the check-in would be as soon as you arrive, we would ask the cars to pull up in the backdrop area, drop the golf clubs, and this is where we'll have volunteers or somebody from the course helping to put the bags on the cart. because you cannot take the golf carts to your parking lot. So carts, we also have most of the carts, I think, are GPS enabled. So as soon as they go out of bounds, that's when they stop and they don't move. And golfers and teams should report to the check-in area located in the pavilion, and they must check in at least, I'm sorry, I said 45 minutes earlier, it's 1 hour. We need them to check in at least 1 hour prior to the posted tee time. We've had some issues this season at some county qualifiers where they came in late and we had to scratch them or disqualify them, and we would still follow the same rule. And we would request all the teams to be, as said, 1 hour prior to the posted tee time. And
Monty, I'm going to jump in for a second. There was a question that came in on the chat in regards to if we do duplicate awards on a qualifying year for a national invitational tournament, USA games, things of that nature. It wouldn't necessarily affect it in a major round or thought process, if you will. What it would do, however, is say we had 3 teams that tied for gold. All 3 of those teams would be put into the hat, if you will, as the first place winners. It wouldn't be, we're going to select one of the first place winners from that division. All 3 of those teams or athletes would go into the hat as a gold medalist and be random drawn, if you will, as we typically do. But thank you for that question.
I hope that answered the question. Thank you again, Steve. My slide again. Yep, going to the next slide. Golfers will be division based on their average score. We had a minimum qualifier requirement of 2 this season, so we had pulled out the average from it, and we will division them. A special note on the 10 and 10x rule. So if the 10 stroke during stroke play is played without holding the shot, the team shall record a score of 10x. And this is when level 2 through 5 golf competitions. I'm sorry, I heard somebody talking. So this is when the championship will be done with the predetermined tee time. Divisions, pairings, and tee time information, as said, will be posted and distributed by Friday. First, I would assume it to be in the morning. And athletes and unified teammates must be prepared to begin competition at least 15 minutes prior to the scheduled tee time. So we will need them. Who miss the tee time will be disqualified according to the rule 6.3.
Monty, can I weigh in on that real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
The way that rule works, if you have a 10 o'clock starting time and you arrive at 10 o'clock in 10 seconds, you're late to the tee, you get a 2-stroke penalty. The rules allow you 5 minutes. So if the player gets there at 10:04 and 50 and tee off, they're okay. If they get there after 10:05, then they're disqualified. That's how the rule works for the USGA.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. That helps. Again, athletes and teammates are asked to play ready golf at all times. And then the tee locations, all athletes and unified teammates will use the forward-most tee box in each hole. This is also referred to as the ladies' or women's tees, and we will mark all the tees with our white SOMD tee markers for easy identification, but we will not use any junior or kids golf tee markers that are placed in the fairways. And if you have any questions, as I said earlier, we will have rules officials all around the course. Please feel free to go out and reach out to them and ask for questions. And we'll only be using the red tees for both male and female participants, and we'll have examples in the next slides. As you can see, this is the SOMD tee box we will be using. That will also be marked with SOMD tee markers. And going to the next slide, this where you could see the blue ones on the course, we will not use them. That is not SOMD tee box. As I said, please feel free to ask any questions to the rules officials, or if you can't locate them, please ask a volunteer or SOMD staff if you see them in sight, and we'll get you a rules official to answer those questions. And I don't have to say the slide because we're not doing tiebreakers. And for the results, they will be posted after each competition division is done, immediately after they turn the scorecards in. We should also have a table, also have a board behind the registration table where we will post all the scores for you to take a look into. And this is where all of this will be happening in the pavilion, where the registration also happens. Steve, can you please help me with this title of the slide, please?
Yeah, it's just continuing with level 2 through 5 and what to do.
Thank you. Continuation. After first turning in the signed scorecards at the scores table, these are some of the things that golfer and the team should do. You should remove the golf bags out of the golf cart so that the carts can be taken and be reused to the next tee time. And as I said, please don't try taking your carts, or advise your athletes not to take the carts to the parking lot. Drop it to the bag off zone, deload it, and then report immediately to the awards area right underneath the pavilion. And in case of rain, we will let you know if and when it will be moved to indoors. Again, unless otherwise directed by an SOMD official, golfers must remain in the awards area until the awards are presented. We do not want any team or athlete to miss on the awards after a long season of golf and a long day at the state championship. So we would kindly request you stay in the awards area as long as you're awarded a medal. So do not go to the golf club, and please wait.
Hey, Monty, this is Mike. Just to add in one thing with that, some reason one of the edits I made is not showing up on that. No, even go back.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That one.
Yeah.
Really want to emphasize to deliver the signed scorecard first. When you're done, come to the scorers table and deliver that so that we can get things rolling and have the awards ready to present. After you do that, then you can go take your golf bags back to the to your cars and anything else along those lines. But your very first thing is to deliver your signed cards to the scorers table in the pavilion. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. That helps. Following up on that, Special Olympics Maryland and the SOMD Golf Committee would again like to thank the USGA rules officials for taking the time out, drafting the rules, and helping us mark the course before the state championship. And as I said, rules officials will be roaming around the course throughout the competition. Please feel free to grab them if you have any questions. We should also have a local rule sheet on all the cards for you to refer to during the play. And Mike, if you want to present the next 2 slides, please.
You want me to do it, Monty?
Sure.
Mike, or
yeah, Mike, if you can do it, yeah.
Yeah. So those of you, you know, there's really no need to buy the rule book. You can go online to usga.org, and under playing the game, you can review everything. But you can download the USGA app, the rules app. It's free and it's very, very intuitive. It's got a great search feature. It pretty much has everything you need to know. So just some reminders how to drop a ball. The ball must be dropped straight down from knee height. And that's the player's knee, whether they're standing or kneeling. So if their knee's 15 inches off the ground, that's how high they need to be dropping it from. You don't do shoulder height anymore, obviously. So a lost ball, you have 3 minutes from the moment the search begins. After 3 minutes, the ball is lost, even if you were to find it. So if you hit a ball into the woods, we recommend that you play a provisional ball. And that's the ball that's played in case you don't find the first one. And when you play a provisional, you must say it's a provisional or that you're playing a ball in case you can't find the original ball. You can leave the flag stick in the hole. There's no penalty if the ball played, whether off the green or on the green, hits the flag stick. That's okay. And if you leave it in, leave it in. If you're going to take it out, leave it out. You got to make up your mind before you putt. So those are some do's. Only soft spikes, no steel spikes. You're allowed to repair any damage on the green if it's on your line. So fix your ball marks, fix any spike marks. If you see a deer track, clean it up. You can remove loose impediments anywhere. That's a stick, anything natural, a leaf, a small pebble, a branch, whether you're in the penalty area, a bunker, on the green, anywhere in the general area. Feel free to move those. However, if you move one and your ball moves, you get a 1-stroke penalty and you have to put the ball back. So if your ball is leaning up against the stick, be careful that if you don't move the stick and have the ball move, you're better off playing it with the stick there. A ready golf simply means that you play when you're ready to go, and it's safe to do so. So if somebody's putzing around, maybe they're not there yet, maybe they had to stop at the bathroom, or they're trying to decide what to hit and you're ready to go ahead, play ready golf. That's quite acceptable, and it's actually a really good thing for pace of play. And you'll see that's a good practice at Queenstown. And that way you're also not trying to figure out who's away all the time. So ready golf's a really good thing at all levels of play.
All right. Thanks again, Mike. I appreciate you pitching in.
Monty,
Mm-hmm.
hi. I just have a couple quick things. One, I think it's important for the players. Maybe I'll remind them on the tee to mark their golf balls, so they know theirs from their opponents, and also if they hit a provisional ball, to know that it's there. So that's one little thing that we should be alert to. And also that the coaches have to understand they can't stand behind. They can line a player up as to where to hit the ball, but they can't stay there when the player plays.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Monty, in terms of enforcing that as a rule of golf, our rules officials are really there to help, and as much as anything, to educate. So if we see in the distance that somebody's standing behind their player, we're not going to come crashing over there and whack them 2 strokes. What we're going to do is, and we'll come over and say, hey, don't do this in the future. Here's how you're supposed to do it. So once that player stands in there, that coach or that caddy or partner, they have to get out of the way. But that's something that intuitively, at the Special Olympics golf level, that's something that's hard for people to do. But that's something that that's a work in progress for a lot of the players and coaches and unified partners. So that's
Right.
something that, our job is to teach as much as anything.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it. Yep. I also I have written down to remind the players to mark their balls also. Thank you so much. Then going ahead with about the golf carts and the spectator rules, golfers must adhere to the course rules for the day of golf carts. This is when I say most of the new golf carts have a golf cart path only and stop as soon as they're out of bounds. So please make sure you're inbounds throughout the play. And only people with a proof of a valid driver's license and are about the 18 years of age are eligible and legal to drive during the state championship. And for the spectators, they're allowed and advised to walk during the play around the course to watch the competition, but they must remain a minimum of 50 feet apart from the competitors throughout the event. And again, if there are infractions, the spectators will be removed from the event, and this also may result in a disqualification for that given athlete or team. Spectators, again, may not ride in a golf cart with a golfer team. If we see that, again, that may result in a disqualification. And golfers and teams who are in breach of this rule are subjected to disqualification from the SOMD Rules Committee.
And Monty, we had a question come in about on the course play, can a unified partner coach an athlete or their teammate? What I would like to say is unified partners would not be coaching the athlete. They would be talking and discussing with their teammate of what the stroke or wind or the lie is or what club to use. So it's not coaching. You guys are out there as a team, and similar to a caddy who is out there with the level 4s or level 5s and level 4s, that those caddies, as well as unified partners in level 2 and 3, can discuss with the athletes and athletes with their unified teammates as well, for that matter, about, hey, what to do, what's your ideas, what are your thoughts. But it's not coaching, if you will, if you catch the drift there. It's more of a discussion amongst teammates on what they feel is the best next move. But thanks for the question.
Got it. I hope that helps. Thank you, Steve. Again, now diving into the head coach's responsibilities. The head coach, again, is directly responsible for the coordination and management of the entire attendees from their delegation. And they're also primarily responsible for ensuring the competitors are at their scheduled set various competition sites and events. And they're also readily equipped for golf, ready to play. And any problems related to a given competitor during the sports competition will be addressed with the head coach. So this is when the SOMD, if they run into any issues with an athlete or a team, they will have direct communication with the head coach, and each delegation shall have a head coach who will attend meetings like these, all sport coaches meetings. It is the responsibility of head coaches to communicate information presented in all of these meetings, as we're doing right now, to family members, athletes, teammates, and any other support personnel that need to know this information. And again, at any point of time now or even after the webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email, and I'll be more than happy to answer those before we start our championship on Sunday. And for the food, a meal will be provided to all registered competitors, coaches, and volunteers. We'll do it through a meal ticket option, if I would say. And if competitors within a delegation require any specific dietary needs, please let me, Mani, know via email at the earliest so that we can possibly do some arrangements if that's a possibility. And if the requirement is out of the ordinary, please make sure the individual has made plans for their own dietary needs. We also have a restaurant on course that is open for all, and you can go get any food of your choice as well. And the lunches we're getting for all of our delegation members will include a hamburger, hot dog, side item is potato fries, a cookie, and bottled water and drink will be coming in the pre-box. But again, if you have any questions or dietary requirements, please let me know. We'll try our best to accommodate them at the earliest. If you can do, we would suggest and request the team/player gets their own food. And continuation, again, I said a meal ticket system will be followed, where a meal ticket will be given to the head coach of each delegation when they're checking in. A 30 to 45 minute, depending on if they're stroke play or level 1, will be followed for lunch at the conclusion of level 1. I'm sorry. And level 2, again, session 2 golfers will have lunch prior to their start and then proceed to the staging area. For 2 through 5, stroke players will receive a meal ticket, and they can either have, if their tea times are after lunch hours, they probably would have lunch first and then go. But if they're anytime in the morning from 9 to 12, we would suggest they play and then come after the awards to the lunch. All coaches, officials, volunteers will receive a meal ticket as well at check-in. And for the families, having so wish to purchase lunch or any other food items, as I said, will be available at the snack bar in the clubhouse, and they must remain in these designated areas only for the viewing of the competition in one of the designated spectator areas. And spectators can bring their own chairs for viewing, but they must strictly stay within the designated spectator areas, and they cannot hang out in the pavilion because that's not for our use. And this is the map that I was talking about. If you could see my cursor, this is where the parking areas are between the clubhouse and pavilion, and the practice range in green, and opposite to the pavilion is the clubhouse. In the next photo, so if you consider the previous one, this is where the spectator, I'm sorry, this one, my bad. So this is where the spectator area is, and with the spectator area, you could see, I know it's not the best view, but you should be able to see at least a little bit of the chip shot, long putt, and the short putt. And the skill staging, as showcased here, is right in front of the pavilion. And we also have a pavilion overflow area just for the crowd management perspective. And we'll also have a shuttle or a golf cart that would help us transport athletes who would need to be transported to the skills areas as well. And the other side of the spectator area would be your pitch, wood iron, and the range for stroke play athletes. And we also have a green for stroke play athletes right here in front of the pitch. And one of the last slides will be about parking. We've had in the past some issues with parking based on the number of spots available. So we highly encourage the coaches to encourage their athletes and partners to carpool if that's a possibility, because we have limited parking spaces. So carpooling would essentially reduce the hassle we have had at times in the past and any potential issues with parking as well. So again, we would like to request you to request your county people to do parking I'm sorry, carpooling if that's an option. And these are driving directions. I will not go in detail, but the slide deck will be posted tomorrow. If you have any questions, please let me know. And again, driving directions. And we're open for questions.
Yeah, and again, if you want to tap your questions, and I wanted to, Mike, I saw you on mute. I'm going to say one or two points, or if you have something pressing, and then I can follow up.
Sure. Just one other edit, and I just want to reemphasize this because this has been an issue. Folks may know I'm usually in the scoring and the registration area. We have had in the past some partners and athletes go over to go right to where the golf cart pickup is and completely bypass the check-in at the pavilion. We really can't have that. That creates a number of different problems. So please emphasize with your folks, they must come and check in at the pavilion before they go out on the course. It's an essential part of the process. It's not an option. So, and if someone doesn't do that, quite honestly, we're going to delete them. And then they can have a nice round of golf, but they won't be eligible for awards. Not that hard to come over and check in. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. A couple of things I'd like to point out as well. I've noticed this over the last couple of years. No, obviously not last year. But people have had the proper uniform when they're out on the course or in the skill stations. And sometimes what we have seen on a rare occasion, but it does happen, is once they get done with the course, they go and take off their shirt and put a t-shirt on or whatever. And that's not what we want. We want the award ceremonies to be just as dignified as the level of play and on the field of play, if you will. So in many cases, awards may not be presented if there's anybody out of proper uniform. We will ask them to either go get them proper uniform in order to receive their award and part of the award ceremony. Two other things are basically about coaches. If you want to nominate anyone for the opening ceremony, obviously they would need to be there for the opening ceremony early in the morning. But if you have anyone, an athlete that you would like to submit or nominate for the reciting of the athlete's oath, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance, and if there's any coaches who have an interest in nominating yourselves to recite the coach's oath, if you could send those to Monty, that would be much appreciated. And I appreciate that. So again, I'll reiterate Mike's point. Anybody who's going out on the course for course play, first thing you do is come and check in. That's got to happen, or like we said, we will scratch you from the competition and you'll be done for the day. But nobody wants that. So just make sure everyone knows you've got to check in, let them know you're here, then go get ready for your competition and your tee times. I do see a couple questions come in. I'll try to look at these here right now. Lift clean in place if necessary before they go out. I don't know, Marty or Michael, if you want to address that, and identify and designated drop zones. Yeah, I know Mike Cumberpatch and Marty will be working together and going out to look at the course and coming up with a few things there.
Yeah, Steve, I have a couple things I can mention about some rules of play. So everybody will get on the first tee what's called a notice to players. It's the local rule. I encourage the coaches especially to read it. Take the time to read it. It'll save you some strokes. We are going to have on hole 5 and hole 11 ball drops or balls hit off the tee. If you recall, hole 5 is the dogleg par 4 that you got to hit over about 70 yards of marshland. It's got a bridge up the right. There will be a ball drop. So if one of the unified partners or a player hits it tops it off the tee, the next player or that player, they can go to the ball drop. It'll be marked to the left of the cart path. It'll be a circle. You drop a ball, it has to land in and stay within the ball drop area. And then you add your penalty stroke, and you're playing your third shot from the ball drop as opposed from the tee where you have to hit it over the marsh. We'll have a ball drop on hole number 11. That's the par 3 over the pond. The ball drop will be about halfway up the left side between the pond and the cart path. So instead of, if you hit it in the water there, instead of having to hit another 70, 60-yard shot over the water, you can go up and you have sort of a 30-yard shot, mostly over land. So it'd be the same thing. We think that'll really help play. It'll help players avoid doing the 10X. The only thing is you'll have to drop the ball, you have to land and stay within that ball drop. As of right now, there are no plans to play lift, clean, and place. The golf course is in great shape. Lift, clean, and place doesn't really gain you anything. There's not really anywhere to move the ball to get a better lie from where most of the time it'll end up in the fairway. So as of right now, you'll be playing USG rules. You'll play the ball as you find it. There will be some penalty areas, if you recall, that are marked as no play zone. That means even if you see the ball and can get in there, you cannot play the ball. You must take penalty area relief. And those areas are marked. They have a red stake that'll have a blue stripe at the top of the red stake. Those will also be mentioned on the notice to players. So you'll see there's only a handful of them. But it's important to remember that you can't play from those. They're basically environmentally sensitive areas that were designated by the state of Maryland so that they could build the golf course there. So we ask you to respect that and not play from it. If you play from those, you get a 2-stroke penalty anyway. So, but again, read the notice to players.
Great. Thank you, Mike. One other thing I want to briefly mention, more information to come on this. There is currently one of the holes, I believe it's on the back side or the back 9 of the course that we'll be utilizing, that's under construction right now. So just want to make everyone aware of that. We'll give you information and details about how that situation will be handled, either the day of, once you arrive and check in before you go play, or if we find out information regarding that situation prior to, we'll give notification via email as well as upon arrival. So just want to let everyone know about that. More details to come on that.
Yeah, Steve, I meant to mention that, Steve. I spoke with Neil today, and I'll see him Thursday, and we'll go over what to do if a hole is closed. He doesn't think that's going to happen, but they're doing a large bunker renovation project, and they're closing one hole at a time. So I'll discuss with him and share with everybody, with you guys, the committee, what the options are if that's going to be the case.
Okay, great, Mike. I appreciate that. I haven't seen any other questions come in. So I think with that, Monty.
Steve, there was one more. In the event your ball comes to rest in or near the bunker against the rake, the procedure to mark your ball, move the rake, and replace the ball, how should people be notified how to do that properly?
Well, the procedure is pretty simple. So that there's a rake there, and your ball comes to rest against the rake that's next to or even in a bunker. You mark the ball, you move the rake. If the ball moves, no penalty, you put the ball back. If the ball won't stay there because it was on a slope, then you'll find a place. You'll work your way around until you find a place without pressing it into the ground. You'll find a place where it'll stay. So there's no penalty for that. It's a pretty simple procedure. Same thing if the rake is in a bunker and your ball comes to rest against a rake in a bunker. You move the rake. If the ball moves after moving the rake, you just put the ball back. And again, there's no penalty.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mike, and appreciate that, Al. I didn't scroll far enough down on the chat there to see that last question. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
I've had it happen to me multiple times, so that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Gotcha. Well, don't hit him against the rake. Come on.
Don't hit him in the bunker.
Yeah, there you go. But I think with that, I do want to give special thanks to both Marty Parks and Mike Cumberpatch, members of the Maryland State Golf Association and members of our management team, and have been instrumental in bringing golf to the level that it is here at Special Olympics Maryland. Really appreciate the work and the partnership with you guys and the leadership you bring, as well as Monty mentioned earlier, the recruitment of the MSGA and USGA officials that'll be joining us for the state championships. Also want to, on behalf of Jim Schmutz, our president and CEO, thank each and every one of you as coaches. There may be some unified partners, caddies, athletes on the call as well. Although this is designed and specifically mentioned for coaches, we appreciate all of your hard work throughout the season. A lot of great qualifying events, a lot of hard work, a lot of practices. We're looking really forward to seeing all the skills out on the course. But thank you for all of your efforts to give the opportunities to the athletes and teammates and others in your program who may not be able to come to the state championships, but had a great season nonetheless with the sport of golf. I know many of you also wear multiple hats, whether you're family members of athletes or teammates and on management leadership teams and so on and so forth. But we truly appreciate you. Without you guys, Special Olympics and sports doesn't happen, and the athletes don't have the opportunity to enjoy the sport, specifically here tonight for golf. So just wanted to thank each and every one. And if you have questions leading up, know we're working hard. If you don't get an email within a response shortly or within a couple hours, don't hesitate to maybe give a call or reach out, as we will be packing the trucks, going through equipment, doing tee times, and buckling down to get everything ready for the state championships over the next couple of days. So with that said, Monty, I think if you want to stop the recording so that we can stop that. And then again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But thank you all.